Can you guys tell me what kind of roles you have and what kind of industries you are selling, writing proposals to and for? Minang, can you just check and tell me what is being
Oh,
told?
yes, I'm checking all the comments.
Yeah, so what kind of roles, the audience, I want to know what kind of roles they have in terms of sales and what kind of industries are they working for? I mean, in terms of writing proposals or selling to, who are they catering to?
So, yes,
Any feedback? Any feedback?
not yet. They're saying great webinar and all that. So I guess let's continue with this. Let's for the webinar example,
Okay.
let's take an industry which we are catering to. Which example would you like to take?
No. I just wanted to know the audience so that I can sort of customize what I'm going to talk.
All right.
But that's okay. That's okay. So what we need to understand is we are in a buyer first world. Now each one of you know that you do not take calls from unknown numbers anymore. We don't open mails soliciting business. So why are we still doing it? Why are we, when we want to sell, don't remember that we are the buyers? We decide today how and where we will engage and buy. So what is really driving this? Why is it why is it a buyer first world? During the industrial era, mass advertising was necessity because we figured out mass production. Because we could produce things en masse, we had to sell them en masse.
True.
There was no option. And to sell that en masse, we had to get into this mass media idea. So television, radio, newspapers, and so on. But since then, the information asymmetry, which means I have produced a new product, I have the information, the buyer doesn't. That era was driven by an information asymmetry, which was tilted to the supply side. But since then, it has shifted to the demand side. What led to this situation? David Cancel, I mentioned earlier, founder of Drift and Conversational Marketing, writes, I have watched the balance of power shifting from supply to demand.
Okay, we got a comment. It says he's a growth marketer and he's into marketing.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes.
So back to David Cancel, he writes, I have watched the balance of power shifting from supply to demand, from company to customer. The way we have been doing marketing and sales is broken. That's what David Cancel, who knows this space very well, he was one of the core members of HubSpot. He now runs Drift. Drift, I'm sure all of you know, very successful SaaS. They actually invented this whole concept of conversational marketing.
Yeah.
He says this. And why the buyer has changed? Because the buyer, like everything else, internet has disintermediated the information flow, and the buyer has a lot more information today than a single vendor. So what you are really, if you are a vendor trying to sell to a corporation, a B2B scenario I'm talking of, and we can talk about B2C, but that's not my focus right now.
Yep.
B2B scenario, when you are going and selling to a buyer, the buyer A has completed 70% of his journey. B is talking to 5 other vendors, which means he has information which is being supplied to him by 4 people as against what you have and you are taking to him. And I'm talking really about non-unique products. If you have figured out a way to create a box which can power your house, then people will still beat the path to your house to buy that product. But most of us are not doing that. Most of us are selling Me Too products. In that scenario, we need to pay attention to the three major shifts that are dominating this shift of power from the supply to the demand side. A, buyers are not buying interruption anymore. The industrial era sales was basically about interrupting a buyer's day or buyer's moment to insert a message, a call to action, a what have you, and then sell him. So infomercials, commercials, prime time breaks, front page ads, you name it. You use something else to draw his attention, which is a program, which is a song, and then you interrupt that song or that program and you push something in. But buyers today are not buying interruption anymore. They are refusing to take cold calls. They're refusing to look at mails which are unsolicited. They're refusing to meet people. And although there was a spike because of COVID, but people are completely suffering from video fatigue. Buyers are not buying interruption anymore.
Yeah.
Second, we are in the permission economy. You can only engage with the buyer. Take this example, Minank.
Sure.
We put out a link on the PitchGround Facebook page. How many followers do you have on that page?
We actually don't go with the likes because I consider it a vanity metric, but let me check it. So, but on the group, I know that we have 12,000 people because I allow our community.
No, that's enough. That number is good enough. And how many people are in the webinar now?
On Facebook page, actually, we have around 6,200 followers on our Facebook page.
Great. And how many people are in this webinar?
Let me check that. And right now, if we check it, there are around 8 people in the webinar. Yeah.
Correct. See, that's the point. You have reached your message to 6,000 or 12,000 or 3,000 people that we are going to have a webinar. There are 8 people here, and these 8 people are here by choice, and they will leave if they don't like what they're seeing.
Absolutely.
Correct? I can only talk to them because they have given me permission and they have come and allowed me this time and this opportunity to talk. If they don't like it, they'll just go, and I and you will be sitting here because I have this webinar to do and you have to run the webinar and nobody will be here. And this permission economy as a concept is not new. Seth Godin wrote the seminal book on permission marketing in 1999, and we were not paying attention. But today, there is no escaping it. And third, you used a very interesting word just now called vanity metrics, and I love that. I love that.
As a social media manager, I should definitely not focus on those shiny vanity metrics.
Correct. So we are also entering an era of ethical analytics. The whole time, this whole idea that you can surreptitiously track people without permission, you can somehow be clever about it. That is over. GDPR came last year, CCPA came in January of 2020. There are literally hundreds of legislations coming. It will be either impossible or illegal to track people without permission. And PitchLink, I mean, I'm not trying to plug it in here, but PitchLink only allows user behavior to be seen by the sender if explicit permission is granted. It is not a clever opt-out. It's a decisive opt-in.
Got it.
So let's talk about interruption selling. So I just said, I claimed that interruption selling is not working anymore.
True.
Now, I mean, there are good folks out there, 8 of them, who can challenge me and say, "Hey, I still send out mails, and they get opened." Yes, this is the email open rate. And you know where it was 10 years back? It was upwards of 20%.
Whoa. That's like a lot of, that's a huge
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Okay. Oh, we do we do cold calls. You know, cold calls, what is the situation today? This. Okay. And what is our response? Look at our response. Our response was, we will build a technology which will do robocalling. Okay.
Yeah.
So a computer will call numbers randomly, and the moment a human picks up, we will connect to another human. We are not looking at the cause, we are looking at the effect. And that's sort of the same kind of reason why people are still in the going out in Paris without masks, and so in Bangalore, and so in elsewhere. Okay. Same thing. We are habituated to overlook the cause. How many calls does it take before a prospect responds? At least 8 calls. And here I want to add another data point. Chorus, a SaaS, they did a survey. They actually had a conversational situation report, and that data found that a regular SDR, sales development representative, has to make 106 calls before he can land a meeting.
Whoa.
Just think about it for a moment. 106 calls before they can land a meeting. Just keep that back of your mind.
Yep. 106 calls.
Telemarketing failure rate is 98%, which means nothing happens. Nothing happens. You spend all that time, robocall, human call, connection, then nothing happens. And this is a good place to just understand the cost of interruption. I will just draw a parallel. You know, when there's a lot of talk about multitasking, right?
Yes.
So we all say, I'm a multitasker. I do this and I do that. Do you know what is the cost of multitasking? Multitasking, first of all, is a myth. Nobody works on 3 things at a time. At any point of time, you can only work on one thing, except unless you're having some background music playing. There is no multitasking. It's a big myth. And I'm happy to engage with anybody who wants to debate on that separately, not here.
Definitely not in this webinar. Right? So yeah.
But the point is, every time you get distracted, your ability to get back to suppose you are composing a mail, or in my case, I'm building a pitch on PitchLink. If I get interrupted by a ping or a notification, or somebody calls me, it takes me at least 15 minutes to get back in the groove. Trust me. Data is there. It's not, I'm not talking anything from my fancy at all. Okay. Interruption is hugely expensive. And like most things, data is not really available out of India. Most of our part of the world, there's not a lot of data. Most of the data I'm showing is from the US. And this is the cost of interruption. Okay. Imagine your own work day. How many times people call you, or notifications come, and you pick up the phone, and so on. Your productive time, 28% is gone.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. So basically, if you're in an 8-hour work shift, like 2.5 hours gone.
Oh my God. You tell this to a manager, he's gonna freak out with the stat.
Yeah, but he's interrupting you the most. That manager is interrupting you the most. He's calling meetings.
Yep.
Okay. So
and we can do it. And today's meetings, it's are the most unproductive things ever. They take a lot of time, etc. Let's not go into that. Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. So somebody did a calculation, and it's saying small business in the US lose $500 million by handling only unwanted calls.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Got it.
information overload cost the US economy $900 billion a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
900 billion with a B.
900 bill. Another 100, it will be a till. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And these obviously these stats are not today's stats. It will be like 1 or 2 years old. Okay.
Got it. Oh my God. Then the numbers might have.
Yeah, we just might be touching a trillion. So, my question to the 8 good folks who are out there, I don't know if there's still 8 or some has left
There are
already.
more people right now.
Oh, really?
It actually went to 15 and then it comes back to 10. Yeah, since you are in a Facebook group, it just like fluctuates.
Cool. So my question to you guys, do you feel the resistance in your prospects to engage when you want them to engage? I want to engage you today, or you want to engage me today. Do you see the resistance? Just say yes or no. And Meena, if you can tell me.
Yes. I can read the comments. People have been getting good comments, which is like, I can keep hearing Subhanjan all day and not get bored.
Thank you, guys.
Yes. That's a very nice feedback. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. So basically, you imagine that you are in your house, because everybody's in their house, and you are working, and somebody rings a bell, and you open the door, and he says, you know what, I need to tell you about this new, and you say, hey, hang on. Did I ask you to come today? Did I tell you that I'm free? Did I tell you that I have nothing else to do in the world, and so you can come and tell me about this new thing that you want to tell me about? Guys, get real, get an appointment.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So what we need to take, if you take away one thing from this webinar, like it's very difficult to give new gyan, okay? There is nothing I'm going to tell you that you don't know already. That's the truth of life. There is internet and there is me. Tell me, I don't stand a chance. All right. So if you take back one thing, take this back. Selling with permission is the key. And the buyer has changed. And now I'll show you some data. And this data is from Gartner. What is it saying?
Gartner, yeah.
Sellers have little opportunity to influence customer decisions. So the ready availability of quality information through digital channels has made it far easier for buyers to gather information independently, meaning sellers have less access and fewer opportunities to influence customer decisions. So Gartner says that B2B buyers, when they're considering a purchase, spend only 17% of the time meeting with potential suppliers, not one. So if he's buying something and 17% of the time will be dedicated to that discussion, you are possibly one of 5 guys they are talking to. So do a math, you will get 3% of that entire time they're going to devote to the buying process. Right? And the interesting thing is, this is not something which has happened overnight. This is something which has been in the making. Like I said, the Seth Godin's book, which is something, if you have not read, please read it. I'm sure most of you have read it.
Which book is that? We'll tell the audience once again.
Permission Marketing.
Permission Marketing by Seth Godin, guys. I'll be typing it in the comments. Do check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, read it. No checking it out. Read it. Okay. and this is written in 1999. I can't say this enough number of times, right? 1999, 21 years back, he wrote that book. And then you know why this guy is so great. Right? Anyway, back from there. This has been in the making for a while. If you look at rise of inbound, what is inbound? What is account-based marketing? What is product-led growth? And obviously these are, I mean, inbound is the oldest among this. I mean, of course, ABM, if you think, there are references to ABM way back in 1984. But it was still not the flavor. It was still not mainstream. There are people who are thinking ahead many years back, right? So inbound ABM, product-led growth, all talk about permission selling. What is product? How is product-led growth about permission selling? Because people come and use and test a product, and then they come and buy. So what is actually happening? You're not selling. The buyer is coming and engaging, the buyer is finding a fit, and the buyer is coming and paying.
True.
Right? In mails and newsletters, opt-in has become mainstream now. You cannot just get 5,000 names and emails and start pushing them a newsletter anymore.
Yeah, there is a thing called double opt-in nowadays.
Exactly. And I'll come to this opt-in in a moment, because opt model is not only opt-in, and I'll talk about that just in a moment. If you look at the rise of sites like G2 and Capter and Trust Radius, what is it talking about? It is telling us that buyers don't trust sellers anymore. They rather trust peers. Buyers want to go and see. In fact, in PitchGround, if we don't get a few reviews of PitchLink out in the next 3, 4, 5 days, I think we'll be very deeply hurt. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm open about it. We should have reviews out there, because the buyers who are going to buy, they are not going to buy because Shubhanjan is an entertaining speaker.
All right, that's true.
I mean, they may talk to me, but they're not going to give me
Money.
$50 or $100 or $200 and buy my product.
True.
Because entertainment is not what I'm selling. I'm selling something serious, right?
Yep.
So people believe peers, people believe other users, and that's mainstream. Conversational marketing led identification of prospect during their digital journey, right? So you need to engage and be there as early as you can. So how will that happen? See, today the way we sell, we are all aiming for the 2% of the funnel who are ready to buy today.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2% of the 100. The two guys who will buy a car today are part of 100 which will buy eventually. Okay.
Yeah.
So all of us are focused on these two guys instead of focusing on the 98 with whom, if we engage, if we educate, if we advise, the possibility of they coming to my car is significantly higher than when we all 20 car manufacturers going after those two guys who know today what they're going to buy. And by the way, our going after them is not going to do anything, because those two guys know one is going to buy a Mercedes hatchback, maroon color, okay, with 6-speed variable clutch, automatic. He knows. He knows. He's not going to suddenly change his mind and go and buy a Hyundai, or vice versa. I'm not talking of Mercedes being a better car or anything. I'm just saying, when you go and buy a car, you know damn well which car you are going to buy. So everybody who is trying to get through to those two guys is not finding success, which is why that 2%. So 2% of the 2 is what each guy is getting, right?
True.
Okay, I'll just go back,
Yes.
and I want to talk about that opt-in bit. So buyers are engaging through a opt-in model, and by the time they're ready to opt in, it is too late and super competitive, is what I just said. And it is not only opting in, it is opting on. or I'm taking a flight from New York to San Francisco, and I just danced through the mail in the morning, and then I landed in San Francisco and I looked at the mail. This person who sent me will know that 6 a.m. in the morning, Shubhanjan opened the mail in New York, and then when he reached San Francisco at 8 p.m., he opened the mail again. Do you understand what that means? So this is a big issue. We don't have all the answers. Companies are adjusting. Even Zoom did a lot of work. Whether it's enough or not, we don't know. Superhuman did a lot. Still, things remain to be done. But make no mistake that privacy debt will be the new technical debt. And you need to keep this in mind because you are dealing with a buyer who is concerned about this. It is not about a shiny thing that you can show me and I'll buy. It is not about that by a stretch. The core issue of who owns your data and if that data is being collected with explicit consent remains to be discussed, debated, and the outcomes protected. And there are lots of things going on. Kevin Kelly has a wonderful idea about information tokens, which means if I am using Google, I have right to my information. And if tomorrow I decide to go to DuckDuckGo, I should be able to take out that information and give it to DuckDuckGo for whatever DuckDuckGo can offer to me. Interesting debate, interesting idea. There are lots of these which people are thinking about, thinkers, and we can discuss those some other day.
Yep.
So what is the best-selling secret? I think all of us who sell have been trying to answer the wrong question for the last 20 years. And the question is, how can we make selling easy? First of all, why should it be easy?
I mean, so that more, because we don't want to give anyone the hassles, right?
No, who? Yourself. To make selling easy means it should be easy for me. It can be as complicated as possible for anybody else, but it should be easy for me. And that's the wrong question. Because selling easy doesn't equal to buying easy. So the question that we need to really answer is how can we make buying easy? Because every time you make buying easy, you sell.
Mm-hmm.
The converse is not true.
True.
And why is it so? Because buying has become extremely complex. Gartner is saying that 77% of B2B buyers state that their latest purchase was complex or very difficult.
Oh.
And data is showing that 53% of B2B buyers take longer to purchase. 7 decision makers. Remember I spoke about account-based marketing? 7 decision makers in a typical company. And these are not the large corporations. Large corporations can have up to 40, 50, 80 people in a buying decision, depending, of course, upon what they're buying.
True.
And the sales cycle has become longer.
So we need to simplify it as much as possible to make the buying
For
process.
them.
That's right.
For them. Because buying is a strategic decision which we are trying to influence using our tactical approach of need analysis and solution selling. That's what we are doing. The current model of need-based selling was devised by Dale Carnegie in 1937. It worked then. 1937, guys. You can do the math. And unlike what we like to believe is the buyer's journey, it is anything but linear.
Mm-hmm.
These are all the processes that a buyer has to go through, or the B2B buying jobs that had to be completed for a buying process to finish. So do you know how the current buyer's journey look like today? We like to believe that it's a straightforward thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, look at this.
Oh my God. I can't. Okay, so okay, you kept a start and a purchase button. Nice. Otherwise, I would have like got lost. Like where does it start and etc.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
We'll
So
probably take a screenshot of this and post it in the group later on. But
yeah,
guys,
sure.
current buying thing you're telling that?
Yeah, this is by Gartner, and again, I'm taking I'm bringing resource and information from the best in the world, right? And and typically, as I was telling you, I'll tell you about the 13 stage decision process which Sharon Drew Morgan talks about. Okay,
Mhm.
I mean there are other models. Typically, a seller will not come in till stage 10 of a 13 stage buying process. Okay, with a little bit of cameo role in step 7, and I will quickly go through them because we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
I will quickly go through them, the
So
stages.
stay tuned, guys. We're having a product demo just after this. So stay tuned. Yeah.
The 13 stages are idea stage, assembly stage, consideration stage, organization stage, change management stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Addition stage, research and change stage, and this is one level where vendors may be contacted for research. Okay, consensus stage, choice stage, meet to discuss choices and the fallout benefits of each, that stage, vendor solution selection, meet possible vendors. This is 11th step. After that, 12th step is new solution chosen, and 13 is new solution implemented. That's it.
13 steps.
Yeah, this is Sharon Drew Morgan's model. Okay, I'm just using that as a reference here. And along with that, it is not only the decision making and that those. I mean, I could possibly at some other day, if somebody is interested, if you contact me, I'm happy to go through those stages in detail. Uh, there are tactical pains we need to solve for the buyer. The transactional pains like demanding synchronous time without clear communication of value. Because instead of letting our customers buy when it is convenient for them, we have made it all about us. David Cancel says, why do we expect a prospect to give us time so that we can try to fit our solution to their problem? Think about it for a moment. We are doing solution selling. We have a solution. So I need to fit it into your problem, no matter what, right? Sharing of information without the sharing, download, and management friction. It's a huge issue. Imagine if a buyer is dealing with 5 vendors at a point of time, and they're all sending G Drive links or Dropbox links or attachments by mail. Can you imagine what's happening at the buyer's end? That the first point of contact, and it may be different people for different vendors, they first get a bunch of attachments. Now they have to share it with that 7. You remember that 7 people involved in every decision? They have to share it with those 7 people. Each of them now have to manage collaterals from 5 different vendors. They have to put it in a folder, add it to their Google Drive, remember where they have kept it. Company A is in this folder, company B is in that folder. There, did you understand what's going on?
That's a lot of hassles.
Yeah. And then they are struggling to get buy-in from internal stakeholders. This goes back to the consideration, change management, and addition stages, right? Managing multi-app, complex multi-app and fragmented communication at both ends. At both ends. Sellers also happen the same thing. They don't have the collateral, but they're getting multiple mails because they're pitching to multiple customers. All have to keep track. The technical has to keep track of all the deals that are going out.
True.
It is super messy, very, very complex. And just to get a sense of how we do it now, mail, cloud drives, permission, downloads, managing internet sharing, voicemails, text, face-to-face, minutes of the meeting sharing, again mail, collaborative suites. I mean, think of it. How scattered it is. This is just a sense of how the old selling methods are giving way to the new selling methods. The old is selling, the new method is buying. Face-to-face, remote. Interruption, zero interruption. You can read it. I don't want to read it out. But that's it, right? Vanity metrics and real actionable signals intent. That one is for you, Meena. Last one.
Guys, this one, take a screenshot, make sure, and we'll also post this in the group as well.
Okay.
All right, screenshot taken. Yeah.
So what tools are we currently using for? Sharing content, collaterals, and engagement with your prospect. Can you guys tell me what are you using today for sharing content and collaterals and engagement with your prospects?
With your prospect.
Yeah. What are you using? Are you using mail, phone, face-to-face? That's possibly not happening. What is it that's going on?
Let me check the comments. G Drive.
G Drive, yeah, of course. How many times are you having permission issues? You sent it to me in G Drive, but my G Drive is not connected to that mail. So please send it me to that other mail.
I have permission issues every single day while just sharing my the images with the designer as well, you know?
Yeah.
Just with the designer, me and the designer, the communication. I have G Drive permission issues all the time.
Yeah. Just one moment, guys.
Sure. Guys, don't go anywhere. We have a product tour of PitchLink by the founder himself just after this. So
yeah. So anything else has come? We can move on.
It's just G Drive. Yeah.
Okay. So what next? This. We have to rethink.
Rethink the whole process.
We have to rethink our position about what's going on. I have given some ideas. Now you guys are smart. You will go and find more data and you'll see whether what I'm saying is making sense, whether it's fitting into the narrative that I just walked you through. Awesome. So first, we need to make it easy for the buyer to buy by supplying information at a time, not at the time of purchase, but early. You remember that 7th step when the research starts? We have to be there at that time. We need to figure it out. We have to help them navigate getting buy-in from the internal stakeholders. How can we do that, right?
True.
We have to help them manage complex process with the least amount of friction. And we have to rethink where we start the seller's journey. Let's stop thinking about the buyer's journey. Buyer knows his journey. Let's figure out our journey. How do we insert ourselves in step 6, in step 5? How do we do that? Let's figure it out. Right?
Yeah.
We'll have to rethink how we build and grow trust and relationship. That is the crux. New generation. So all of you know that in the last 30 years, 50% of the Fortune 500 has vanished, right? Replaced by new companies. The next set of brands which will replace the existing set of brands on Fortune 500 or Fortune 5000 will be the brands which will be built on trust and relationship. Believe it or not, it's old-fashioned, but it's back. It's back. And we'll have to rethink the tools we use to deliver extraordinary outcomes to our customers.
Got it.
They are only trying to ensure desired outcomes. They are not trying to buy our product. They are not trying to be friendly with us. They don't care where we eat, which team we support, which airline we fly. They just want to get their desired outcome. They really don't care about our product. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Any thoughts and questions?
Guys, any quick thoughts and questions before we move on to the PitchLink product tour by the founder himself? I'm monitoring the comment section right now. Let's have a look at any questions that are coming in from the people. Guys, you can ask all questions regarding sales, about this presentation, etc. By the way, we have more audience joining in. The count has gone about 25, etc. And yes, the count has actually gone about 25. And it's interesting. Everyone's like hooked to this. That's really awesome. Guys,
Okay, great.
any questions you have in the watch party where you're watching this from, just leave them here and we will answer it to you before we move on to the product webinar tour.
So, okay.
We are looking at the questions. Until then, Subhanjan, do you have your dashboard ready?
Yeah, my dashboard is ready.
Awesome.
Yeah, my dashboard is ready, and I will do a quick tour because I know we are running out of time.
Awesome.
And
so
and give a sense of what
the product tour. Yeah.
Yeah, shall we get in?
Yeah, the most interesting part of the webinar, guys. We're actually gonna show how PitchLink works, how you can create your own first PitchLink. And Subhanjan, I think you need to enable your cam again. We're having...
Yeah, this is every time I start sharing, Zoom does this to me.
Zoom, why such discrimination with him? All right.
They don't like me because I talk about Zoom and its privacy issues.
Zoom is listening this.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Right.
There, Eric is a great guy. I think he has managed it better than most people. Honestly.
Okay.
Okay. So what you're looking at is the PitchLink dashboard. So this is obviously a populated dashboard, which means this is a real dashboard. This is my dashboard. Okay.
And dashboard.
Yeah. So this is my dashboard, and when you actually join PitchLink, you'll really not have any of this data. There'll be some other kind of panels, but just to give you a sense of what is here, this gives a overall stats. Shows me the most viewed files, shows me whether my profile is complete or not, shows me some of the latest comments that we have got, right? So I can actually see who all has commented on various pitches that I've sent out, and shows me some stats about pitches which are going out more often than others. Okay, so before I show you how to build a pitch, let me show you the content section, because that's critical. And the way it works is you would want to bring in all your content into PitchLink. And I had some questions and I would like to address them quickly. See, somebody asked, you are giving some X GB of storage, and if I want to use high definition movies and some collaterals, and I send it to 10-20 people, my storage will be over. Nothing is going to happen. You know why? Because we are streaming everything from the cloud. Your collaterals size is only counted once. Even if you have sent a 500 MB movie to 100 people, it's still 500 MB storage.
True.
Okay, so no worries about that. Don't worry about that. Number one. So this is where you bring in. So obviously, as you can see, you can upload files, you can drag and drop. Let me see if I have something here. Let me just drag and drop something. New York Times opinion. So there is a
PDF,
and I have just uploaded it. Okay, so basically you can keep dragging and dropping and it will get uploaded. So NYT opinion, and you can see NYT opinion is right here. If I click it, and this is where we are far better than G Drive or Dropbox. I can preview the document right here. This is the document. I can preview it right here completely. I don't have to go anywhere. I can control all the data. I can write, I can add tags, I can add description, I can edit the title if I want.
Wow.
Of course, I can download it, so on and so forth. And it shows that 7 seconds ago, Shubhanjan has uploaded it, right? Has it been approved?
Does it also show it to the person whom you're sending to?
Yeah, of course. So when I show you the pitch, you will see.
All
Of
right.
course, it will show the. So what we have done. Typically, imagine even if you have sent it through Google Drive or Dropbox or email attachments. If I have sent one PDF, one doc, one spreadsheet, one movie, how do you think your user is going to watch them or look at them? He has to open doc, Word, he has to open Excel, he has to open a VLC player or a QuickTime, he has to open 5 different apps just to be able to see your stuff. In PitchLink, I'll show it to you when we get there. It's all in the browser. It goes nowhere. Nowhere. Everything opens there. And native format. These are not images. These are not screenshots. This is a native format. Like you can see the native format of the PDF here. It's the native format. So these are files. So I've uploaded various files, and I can create my folders here. I can save links. For example, let me show you. So whenever links allow to be loaded through iframe, you can actually embed a link into your pitch. And how does it work? So suppose you're sending a pitch to a company and you want to show what their competition is doing, or you want to show an example of how your work. Suppose you're a copywriter, you're a digital marketer. So one person was a growth hacker, right? Who was
Yes.
here, growth marketer. You want to show examples of 2 of your clients who are benefiting from the the advice you have given them. You can embed those websites. So I'll show you what you do. Just say add link, and I'm going to
Yesterday, people were also raising concerns about adding your own name over there, so I think, talk about it.
sorry.
Yesterday, some people were raising concerns about the name of the link that you're going to make. So they actually.
I don't get it. Sorry, what was that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but what was the concern?
They were actually looking to name their links. The final
Okay.
pitch link which you're gonna send it to the person. I think we'll cover it next, right?
Yeah, I don't know what you mean though, but yeah, I'll come to that. So here is my website. Okay, this is the actual website. I can actually click stuff. I can click on menu, and the menu comes up, right? And it's a pitch link. I can enter a description, pitch link, website. Sorry,
Yeah.
ignore my typos. And it's here, right? And I click on that. I can see it. This is my entire website here, right here.
That is loading live.
It's live. Yeah, it's live. It's live. Everything is, whatever is clickable is clickable. Okay. So that's the links. But I must say that only sites which allow loading through iframe will work. Rest you can take screenshots and use it, but obviously it will not function the way I just showed you. I can create forms. Now forms are important because one of the things we do in a face-to-face meeting is to get feedback from the customer as we are presenting. So we ask some questions, they give us some answers, we note them down, right? In PitchLink, you can create these forms, and I'll show you. You can create these forms here and save them. This is how the forms look, okay, when you save them. And you can add it to your pitch, and it automatically, without prompt, surfaces end of the pitch. So people may still not fill it up. I mean, you can ask you can ask a question, Shubhanjan, how does this work? If I don't want to answer, I'll not answer. I'll figure out a way not to answer that question. Same thing, right? So forms, mail drafts. So essentially, imagine that you are running a company with 10 salespeople. Now, everybody don't write English the same way, or French, or whatever language you're using. So why put that pressure? Sales guy is a sales guy. He's not a writer. So typically your writers will be sitting in the marketing department. So they can actually create multiple mails, and these mails will be then available to the salespeople to customize. So you are going to send up X kind of pitch to Y kind of company. You know that this mail draft I have to use. I change the name from Shumanjan to Meenang and from pitch link to pitch ground, and I'm done. I don't have to think also what is the mail I have to write. I mean, I'm not trying to say that this is something unique, but I'm saying it is here. I mean, mail drafts are there, right?
Awesome.
Then you have pitch maps. Now that's interesting one, and let me take you through it. So a lot of people actually have asked, what is the difference between a pitch map and a pitch flow and a pitch link? So these are actually three different things. Okay.
Got it.
Pitch link is the link that finally gets to the recipient. Pitch flow is the flow that you construct, and I'll show you one right now, how the pitch flow looks. And the beauty is, unlike sending a bunch of attachments on mail or through Google Drive, this pitch flow is sequenced exactly the way you want. So your recipient is not wondering, should I open the spreadsheet first? Should I open the doc first? Let me look at the PPT a little bit. None of that. He knows it is sequenced. He knows you want him. It's like reading a book, a novel, watching a movie. You don't start a movie and go to the 110 minutes and start watching.
No
You
way.
not understand anything. But that happens all the time when you're using even good products. I mean, DocSend, PandaDoc, these are all good products. But how do you manage the sequence? Even if you have written it in a mail, is somebody referring to your mail while opening the attachments? No. How many times do you do it? Think about it. So that I went into the pitch map. Pitch map is, I am imagining that I am going to send a pitch to medical devices manufacturers. Just give me an example. Or real estate people who are developing a seashore, community in Dubai. Just saying. So when I am thinking, I just made a contact. I have to send him a proposal. I'm not thinking I'll send him this PowerPoint, then I'll send him that PDF. No, I'm thinking, okay, what will make sense to these guys? Essentially, pitch map is your mind map for the pitch. But the beauty of this is, it is actually generating a template which you can use and reuse and reuse. So how does it work? I can say add pitch map. I get an empty box. I enter details here. So I say this has to be a video introduction to my narrative. I say I should talk about state of the industry, change in the world, and so on. Okay, done. So next, after that, I think I should put a PowerPoint. So I'll say use existing PPT here. Add some stats. I can actually write more. I can write exactly what I'm thinking. I can write more. Okay. Then I say, give a voice intro to demo. Add demo movie. I know some things, I don't know some things. I'm just writing.
I guess that's more than enough. So many.
Because I'm going to build a pitch on this.
All right.
Conclude. Okay. After this is my new pitch map. I'll say demo to my pitch ground friends. Because I'm lazy, I'll not. And I'm lazy, and you are rushing me, Meenal. I just copied the description. Okay. Okay. So interesting thing is the description is only visible to you. So you write what you will be able to recall, and you know, okay, I made one like for the pitch ground fellows. You can come and find it. Okay. So that is the pitch map. Then you write scripts. Scripts are typically used for recording your voice and video, and I'll show you how. And it's also used to insert in between files to add context. So when I have a narrative with five files, five elements, I may like to tell you what you're going to watch next and why I have put it there, or what you're going to read next and why I have put it there. What is the context?
Okay.
So not surprising that we call these context bridges. We call them context bridge. Okay. Testimonials, I will not really go into it because it is one hidden gem. It's a product inside PitchLink.
Okay.
What it does, I'll just tell you what it does. I'll not show this today. I'll possibly show it another day. Testimonial allows you to send a link, just like PitchLink, to your existing customers.
Okay.
Where they can click the link, get an interface, record their video in the browser as a testimonial with the script that you have provided, which they can edit.
Wow.
And just hit upload, and it comes into your PitchLink account. No WeTransfer, no download, nothing.
Okay, that's like a very I didn't know this. I personally didn't know about this feature till now.
Yeah, but I'll not get into it today. It's elaborate. It's really a product inside PitchLink. So
guys, tune into our next webinar, upcoming ones, where Subhanjan will actually dive deep into the testimonial section, which is the product in itself.
Sure. And then there is discovery. Now, discovery is used through a Chrome extension. So we have a Chrome extension
for PitchLink,
as you can see, for PitchLink. Discovery is also another sort of small product inside PitchLink.
Okay.
So what it allows you to do, so all of us know Evernote, right? So how do you do research? You possibly use Evernote, right?
Yes, Evernote. I use it daily.
Right. So there are a bunch of them, right? So Evernote is one of the very well-known and good product. So the PitchLink Chrome extension allows you to do that. So this is the Chrome extension. You use the same PitchLink credentials to sign in.
Great.
Can you see it is already taking the screenshot of this screen?
Oh, okay. So you just have to click the PitchLink extension and it takes a screenshot?
It takes a screenshot, and not only that, when I'm doing research, suppose I'm doing research about lifetime deals, and I'm just going and searching lifetime deals, I'm going to pages and I'm collecting data, and when I take a snapshot, I can enter my note that this is why I collected it, and then I decide I must create another folder for PitchGround.
Okay.
I'm getting a lot of information. I can create projects and I can create folders on the fly. I'll not demonstrate it today, but I can create it on the fly. Okay. And this is how it looks.
It all gets saved in here. Okay.
Inside your account.
Wow.
So no going to Evernote separately, no taking it out, nothing.
Wow.
Okay. And here I have whatever I've clicked. Okay.
Awesome.
And how does it work? I can click on that. I can see what I've clicked. Okay. So when I'm writing my proposal, or I'm building my PitchLink, I can refer to this. And not only that, I can use it in my pitch. How? I just add it to content. It is now added to content, and I'll show you how it looks. Okay.
Okay.
Now I go back to my files. And this is what I added just now, and it's in my files now, which means I can, when I'm building my pitch, drag and drop this into my pitch flow. Okay.
That's right, guys. You get 5 GB of storage with the basic plan if you're going with. And
Yeah,
if you're grabbing it on early bird, you actually get plus 5 GB extra to save all these kind
yeah,
of files.
yeah.
So it
It is
automatically,
just the ease.
yeah.
It is just the ease of having all of it in one place, right? You don't have to bother. Once you have done that, and I didn't talk about folders, you can actually organize all these things into folders. You can create folders here, and once you create, in every stage where you have folders, you can use them to organize your data, to organize your pitches, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now let's get into the elephant. Get to the elephant in the room. How do we make a pitch?
That's all we have been waiting for.
Okay, so I will. You are in this. I have lots of pitches. So I am going to create a new pitch. So I'll say create pitch.
All right.
Okay. And you are rushing me, Meenang, for my pitch map. So I'm going to use it now. So I'm going to use it here, and I have to name my pitch. So this is where you understand that a pitch map can be used multiple times. I am going to use one pitch map, but I can name it differently different times and put different material into those boxes, and I have a new pitch, right? So I am here saying demo to my
Page ground
let's
friends.
make it a little funky, PG friends, okay?
Yeah.
And again, I'll cheat a little and I'll put that same thing in the description,
Perfect.
okay?
Yep.
I'll select the pitch map. Demo to my pitch ground friends, right? I have taken that.
Yes.
Okay. Remember what all those things I was writing? This has to be a video introduction to my narrative. Use existing PPT here. Add some stats. All the notes are here. Okay. So let's first find the PPTs and all. So I want to use the PPT and I go. Oh, so this is my entire content. It's all here. Okay.
Okay, just from the files which you have saved.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Okay. And I can find them by like video, image, audio, etc. Or I can find them via pitches, which means if I know I have used those elements in another pitch I sent to bank X, now I'm sending a pitch to bank Y, I can just open that pitch, okay, and go down and say, okay, let's go to this one.
Yeah.
And
individually.
And
okay.
And I want to take this this PowerPoint, and it gives me a preview right here, so I know what I'm choosing. Okay. And then
don't tell me that you can drag and place it there. Don't tell me that.
No, we can't. We just have to tell. We just have to tell.
Oh
That's
my
it.
God.
Okay.
I'm blown
It's
away.
there. Done.
I'm blown away
Okay.
right now. Personally, I'm blown away.
Okay. Right. So now I'm going to ask for some images, and I know that I want that particular image which I have used for 106 calls. Remember that stats I used?
Yes.
Is actually a real stat. I just drag and drop it here.
Wow.
It's here. Okay.
Wow.
That's there. And if you're not sure what you have dragged, just double click it.
And it shows the preview.
Perfect. Yeah, it gives the preview. Okay. Then I said give a voice intro to demo. I'll go to audio. I already have a voice intro to demo. Intro to demo. Intro to demo there. Okay.
And then drag.
And then if I click on that,
I'm not sure if we can play that music live. Yeah, but we can drag and drop it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the preview. Which addresses these and
okay, so that's like a 10-second thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an intro. I have done. Yeah, I put it here. Okay, intro to demo. Come. Add demo movie. So I'll go to videos and new interface demo, just drag and drop. And I want to be sure, I can again double click and check.
At its core, PitchLink
All
is a
right.
Is the right one.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yep.
And conclusion. Okay, I have to do a conclusion. So these two is now what I'm going to show you. So I'll click context bridge. It will ask me video, audio, text. I'll say video. So what I wrote here, there in the pitch map is right here. This is the video to be introduction narrative. I should talk about state, the industry, change in the world.
Great.
Now I could have written the script.
Yeah.
Okay, I think my internet is acting up.
No, it's perfectly fine. We're all live.
Fine.
Yeah, we never lost you. So yes.
Okay. No, actually, from my side, it was like sort of frozen.
All right.
So I can choose a script.
Okay.
So say intro for Jürgen. I say hello, pitch ground friends. Thank you for connecting, and I'll just
Gotcha.
knock off a few. Like I was telling, I can just delete, right?
Yeah.
And just be patient.
Yep.
And I'll start it. So I've now fixed the script. And this is the same thing that when you send the testimonial request, you can write a script, but your recipient can actually edit it. Obviously, what I tell the customer may not want to read that, right?
True.
So the customer can edit it exactly like this. I can save this also. I can save this script right from here.
Yes.
Okay? I can save it right from here. I can put PG intro, and that's it. I can find it next time.
Okay.
And script save, start recording. Now,
Okay, so
can you
it
see
actually
this?
acts like a teleprompter. Oh, okay.
It is a teleprompter. It is a teleprompter. This is where you increase or decrease the speed. You can test it out, and I'll be looking there, so you'll get a side view which is not very great. But to start recording, I just need to press the space bar. Okay.
Yep.
Here I go.
All right.
Hello, page ground friends. Before we, this is too fast. I stop it. So now you can see.
Okay, the video is made. Okay.
No, not only made. It is a first take. I can do multiple takes for a particular video. Okay.
Okay.
So I say retake, and I can reduce it a bit.
Great.
So
This is
And I
one
say-
interesting feature,
yeah.
adding the teleprompter, because it actually is like the
Hello,
customer
page ground friends.
has to look at it and read it.
Correct.
I'll
So
tell
I
you
can
what's
just read
important
it.
from my perspective, because I also make videos on YouTube, and it's usually looking at the script and then memorizing it and then talking up for it. And it usually,
Correct.
as a YouTuber, I had to learn all of this
Correct.
stuff. But what happens is that not all of us are YouTubers, and
Stop it.
we want to have a script
Correct.
so that we can look at it and read it. And I think this is a pretty nice example.
Okay.
for all the people.
So I can save and close. I'll take two. I'll say demo. I can put some tags. I'll save. Okay, so this has come. It will take a couple of minutes to get generated. In the meantime, let's go and attack the context bridge here. I'll do audio this time. Thank you. Conclude is written here. I'll say thank you for your time. Okay.
Yep.
Start recording. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Okay.
Perfect.
So I can save. I can here also I can do multiple takes. So if it's a long script and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll do audio this time. Thank you. Conclude is written here. I'll say thank you for your time. Okay. Start recording. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Okay. I can save. I can here also I can do multiple takes. There is a little bit of lag in my computer, in my internet. So
That's
basically,
all right. That's all
yeah,
right.
basically I've done my stuff. My pitch is ready.
Perfect.
So next I can add resources to my resource folder. So I can either search for a folder, I will put it under background info, and again my material is available. So I'll go to documents, and I want to bring this client guide over here. So the client guide is here, and there is a little bit of lag in my computer, in my internet.
Okay.
So basically, yeah, basically I've done my stuff. My pitch is ready. So next, so there is some I can add
So
resources to my
let's save the
folder.
file.
I just search for a folder. Yeah. So the lag has created a little bit of an issue.
True. The webinar lag. It's all right. Let's
Yeah.
proceed.
So demo. So demo to my pitch is ready here. It
Okay.
is not. I have not finished it.
But yeah, let's have a look at it.
Yeah. But before that, I'll finish it. That client guide I had taken. Then I want to add a form, right? So end of it, I will take this advisory form, and I can see the form right here, and I say done, and I can indicate how long it will take. So this data will go in the mail that I write with the pitch link. I can say it takes about 10 minutes to watch this, so the person can decide to see it or not.
Okay.
And I say finish and save. Okay.
Perfect.
So
That's how I
now,
read my Medium articles.
if I click that finish and save, it became, I can now send it to a prospect. I can preview it. I'll not play it back, but I can preview it. This is the recording I did, right? Okay. And it sort of plays from one to the other. This is the PowerPoint I loaded. It's showing me the preview, right?
Yep.
And that's it. So I know this is what I want. I can get out of it, and I can send it to a prospect. So I click on that. I have access to my contact base. I just want to send it to James Joyce, and I say done. I can set a date of expiry. So if he has not seen it by 26th or 27th of July, the link will not work, and he will be told that get back to Shubhanjan to look at this. I can allow him or disallow him to share it. I can select a draft. So welcome to PitchLink 2.0, and I am sending it to James. So I just change it to James, and that's it.
Perfect.
And I say send pitch.
All right.
We're done.
From PitchLink itself.
Pitch sent. That's it, guys.
So do you have a link of this pitch?
Yes, I have sent it to someone. I have a link of this pitch.
So
Let me
people
show
actually
you.
yesterday they were asking about naming your pitch link.
So when you say naming, what does it mean? You can
So
name the title of the pitch can be anything. It's like demo to my PG friends. So
no, not the title, but the link itself. With the link which you're sending it to James.
so my link, if you can see, is pitchcloud.pitch.link, which means I have a domain, pretty much like how I'll have a domain in Slack.
Okay.
When you register for PitchLink, you will get a domain.
Perfect.
So for example, you can have a domain called pitchground.pitch.link.
Okay.
My company's name is ABC. My domain will be abc.pitch.link, and everything will happen there.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So you wanted to see how the pitch looks, right?
Yes, in a new tab.
Yeah. Just I have to.
Guys, in the meantime, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. We'll be looking at the questions. And PitchLink product is live. We launched it on the Launch Tuesday campaign, which we did yesterday and day before yesterday, sorry. So the product is live. You can go check it out. You've seen the demo, etc. So we got a question from a person named Rishikesh Mishra. So Rishikesh says, can we
Okay.
able to upload pre-recorded videos, or do we have to record only? Rishikesh, you can upload pre-recorded videos as well. You don't have to record it
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Rishikesh.
Yeah, you're right. So this is the mail that will come to the recipient. This is how it will look, and it says view this pitch. And for some weird reason, it opened the tab in a different window.
That's
But
all
that's
right.
fine.
That's all right. All right.
Okay.
All right. So below is the thing which is the pitch map which we create inside the pitch link.
This is what we created inside PitchLink. Okay.
Yeah.
And when I mouse over, I can see what that file is. All right.
Got it.
And this is the form which loads at the end of this pitch. When I finished watching it, this form will load on its own. All right. And I can invite my team from here.
Okay.
I can invite my team from here and they can come and join me. All right. So all of us are looking at the same pitch. Nobody is downloading anything. Nobody is saving anything. Nobody is opening a folder. Everything is on this link.
No G Drive permission issues.
Nothing. I want to discuss with my team. I click on this and you can see chatting with my team. I can talk about this element.
Wow.
Or I can talk about the pitch itself. I can discuss about the pitch itself. I can write a message. Or I can send an audio message. This is a test audio message to show Minang that we can send test messages to the team. This I'm sending to my own team. This is a test audio message to show Minang that we can send test messages to the team. This I'm sending to my own team. Okay? because I'm chatting with my team here. I just hit that.
Yes.
And there it is. This is a test. Okay. Now imagine that we are discussing and we decide, hey, you know what? We should send this message to the sales guys and see what they have to say. I just click on post to all. It's giving me a warning that comment once posted to all cannot be reverted. Are you sure? I say okay.
Yep.
And it's saying posted to all. So let's go and
it's
check.
Basically a WhatsApp group chat on PitchLink where you guys are all looking at the pitch and talking about and sharing your opinions. Wow.
Correct. And here I can chat with my team, and here, because PitchLink sent me the pitch, here is the seller team. Okay. So I go to chat.
Okay.
And I go to on pitch. See, that message has come to me.
So
which
you
was
chat with
posted.
both of the people separately. Yeah.
This is a test. This is a test audio message to show Minal that we can send test messages to the team. So that was the message I shared with my team, right?
Yep.
And we decided, okay, let's send it. So suppose it's a question. Somebody has a question. Send the message. Hey, Shivanjan, can we, upload videos? Can you ask the pitching guys? Can we upload videos? I sent a message. Hey, we don't know. Let's post it to them. I don't even have to write it again, record it again. Nothing. Just post it, and it has come. And
Wow.
this chat is with the Pitch Cloud team, right?
Got it.
So basically, our entire conversation, including the mails that have been exchanged, I don't have to even go back to my email to see what all mails have been exchanged. On this thread, all the mails are here for reference.
Perfect.
And I can chat with my team. I'm the buyer here, or chat with the seller team. And not only that, I can also see the internal engagement of my team, right?
Yep.
So I can see who has seen what right over here. So I have analytics, I have chat, I have sharing, my entire conversation with my team and the vendor team on this one link. That's PitchLink.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay,
awesome.
I'll stop sharing now.
Awesome, guys. If you have any questions right now, the product demo is done. If you have any questions about pitch maps, pitch link, the pitch flow part of it, the files part of it, the storage part of it, this is the time to ask all the questions. And if you are checking out the product is live at pitchground.com/products/pitchlink. Feel free to reach out to the team, guys, if you have any kind of trouble buying it, or feel free to reach out with your queries on the group as well, because we are ready to answer any query that you have. We are here for you. So let's wait for the questions in the live section. Guys, we are done with the presentation, so we are waiting for your questions. It was a pretty long presentation that we've had. I think this was one of the longest webinars for you as well, Subhanjan?
Yeah. I mean, normally I try to do it in like 1 hour.
Yep.
But this has been.
But we have got so many people, actually. We didn't expect these many people. We were actually like thinking initially they didn't have the traction, but yeah.
So how many people came finally, Minal?
Yes?
How many people finally came?
We'll get to know after the live is finished.
Okay, fine. No problem.
So guys, drop us your questions live on the video and we will answer it to you right now. Waiting for questions. Come on, guys, post your questions. We are here to answer it. Okay. Graham George says this is very impressive. Thank you so much, Graham George. So
Thank you.
Like, I've had my eye on this, but I always like hearing from the developers before I buy. Awesome. I hope you got the presentation from the founder himself. And I hope you got to take some value out of this. Let's wait for some more questions. What is the price? So Jigar, that's a good question. PitchLink starts at $59 for the basic plan. And that's $59 lifetime. And we are also running an early bird bonus that you can check it out, Jigar, by going to pitchground.com/product/pitchlink. The early bird bonus will be there for just another 5 days and it's going off forever. And you're getting a double cloud storage thing and plus 10 bonus pitch links per month. So Jigar, you can check it out by going to the website. Any more questions, guys? Before we wrap up this presentation, all the 25 people watching this presentation right now, if you have any questions after the presentation, feel free to reach out to us, any of us. You can message in the group, you can message me personally, you can message the founder personally. We are all here to help you out and solve all your queries and your doubts. Let's have a look at the watch party that has Udit shared. And people are putting in hearts. Thank you so much for all the hearts that you have been sending us. How soon will the mobile experience be fixed? I purchased a product. Thank you so much. And how it could be improved on mobile. So that's the question.
So I'll answer that. We are actually at it. I think we will fix it over the next 4 or 5 weeks at the most. See, we didn't build it for mobile. This whole experience is very difficult to get in mobile, but we understand that there is some need. And of course, I mean, we are not a mobile first product. It's not a product which can be mobile first, but we have some very interesting mobile take which is going to come. We believe that pitch building, pitch viewing is not great on the mobile. What will be great is the communication piece. So we have, if you please look at the roadmap that we have announced, we have 2 apps coming up, apart from fixing what you are talking about, the resizing of the window and all that. That will happen. But more than that, 2 apps are coming, one in August and one in November, which will completely change the way you can interact with the customer and the customer with you.
But the mobile experience would be fixed in another
4 or 5 weeks at the most. We are at it. We are already working on it. Yeah.
4 or 5 weeks. Hope you got the answer, Rennie. Any more questions, guys? Jigar, you can, for the demo, you can, after the recording would be shared in the group, you can rewatch the webinar and get the demo. Otherwise, if you want the demo, you can contact me or the founder, and we will walk you through a quick demo of PitchLink and how to make your own first pitch.
Okay, so another thing I must tell, see, I am a SaaS user, right? So a lot of things I'm doing is based on my own SaaS using experience, which is one of the reasons that except for our lowest tier, all tiers have unlimited users. I hate to pay per seat. I mean, it makes no sense. Small company, 5 people using a product. Now you pay for everybody. Slack fixed it a bit because somebody is not using, fine. Otherwise, you buy one license, 5 of them sharing and all that. So we have unlimited users in all plans except the lowest plan. And the lowest plan is targeted the single user, the gig economy person who operates on his own or her own. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, we will never charge you to learn how to use our product. I mean, this we said day 1. We will never charge you. It's like saying if you buy my car, you have to go and learn driving all over again. What the hell? I mean, what does it even mean? So not only this demo, you will always have access to us, and we are creating tons and tons of videos, and we will have practically demo sessions every day going forward. Every day there will be a live session where you can always come, get your clarification, send your team. Some new people have joined, they can come. We will never, you can record this and keep it and show it to me if I ever do it.
Yes, it's already getting recorded. Yeah.
I'll never charge for teaching how to use my product. That sucks. All the people who do that in the name of setup fee, I hate it.
Of course, you cannot, like, if buyer is coming to you and
yeah.
So any more questions, guys? I'm reading comments from the phone. And yes, so any more questions, we can get it. Rini says, thank you. Thank you so much, Rini, for purchasing and trusting PitchLink.
Yeah, Rini, thanks very much. I sent you a message. Answer to me in PitchLink, okay? I already sent you a message.
Awesome.
Check it out.
Awesome. Guys, before we wrap up the webinar in another minute or 2, just get in the last questions. And yeah, you can always check the product out by going to pitchground.com/product/pitchlink.
Yeah.
And if you want to grab the product, feel free to reach out to us. As you said, we are all available to teach you how to use the product and walk you through it.
Totally.
And
Absolutely. Anything you need, just let us know.
I would say,
And not only for now, not only because you're going to buy it from Pitch Ground. I'm telling you that as our user, you will always find us in your corner. I also want you to be in my corner. So if you are messing up something, do tell us, and we'll fix them. Okay.
awesome. Awesome. I guess the comments, I guess everyone's got their queries solved. So, guys,
Okay.
that's it for the longest webinar, probably, which I did personally and which Subhanjan did personally. I hope we have answered all of your questions. I hope you got some information about the slide deck, which we did, which is selling to the new age buyer and completely telling no to the interruption selling. And
Yeah.
Subhanjan has actually suggested a book. If you have missed the slide deck, you can actually read that book by Seth Godin. It's called what's it
Permission marketing.
like?
Permission marketing.
Permission Marketing by Seth Godin. Please read that book. It actually is amazing.
Yeah.
So guys,
it is.
thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope this webinar was really valuable. You can always check the product out by reaching any of us in PitchGround or PitchLink, and you can always go to pitchground.com and you'll be presented with the early bird offer to grab PitchLink, which is amazing. Extra 5 GB of storage and extra pitch links, etc. So guys, that's it for the webinar. I hope you got value. We're going to do some more webinars planned for you. And we want to see you in those webinars as well, because we are going to share more and more value too. So guys, thank you for tuning in and goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye guys. Thank you very much.
The recording is